So, hello. We're online now and we're waiting for our attendees. We'll wait just a few more minutes. See who else is coming online for us. So we're here once again to cover all the details that we went over for the autism and anxiety. And we're going to do a live session on ASD, that's the autistic spectrum disorder. Okay, so I'm really excited about this. So thank you for joining us today, and we're going to go in. We're just going to wait a couple of one more minute to see who else is coming online. While we're waiting, please tell me who you are, where you're from, so we can have the interchangeable online chat. Any questions you have from our previous webinars, you can go ahead and write them, so I can respond to any questions you had from previous videos or during this video as well. This is going to be a 2-hour video. Okay. Just keep in mind that there are some things that I'm not going to go into because I haven't gone over them, so I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information, things that we haven't gone over yet. Because there are more webinars coming in after the New Year's. Okay, so since a minute has gone by, we'll go ahead and go in. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, so as the client, I put autism webinar that we had the last time. So let's go over what has come up for this, let's say this person that we're going over. Let's look over the VARHOPE initially. We see the volts are down, giving me the indication that the person is tired. Maybe they haven't slept well. Okay, their amperage is lower than the previous time, giving me also the indication that somehow their serotonin isn't well, or maybe perhaps their digestion. That we'll have to investigate through the matrix of what's going on there. Resistance is a little bit better, but still low. Remember, these numbers should be between 80 to 100. Resistance gives me the indication of possibly a low immune system, or could be resistance also to change, resistance as a psycho-emotional, behavioral resistance. Hydration is better, which is great. Oxygenation is a little lower than the last time, but it's okay. Cellular vitality is 9 out of 10, really good. Okay, resonant frequency pattern is good as a number. It's not excessively nervous, so it's a good number. Phase angle is ideal, 8. Phase response, 960. Wow, that's ideal. So all their organs and their system is working ideally. And 1,600 for impotence, again, ideal for their energetics of how the energy is going around their cell, their whole body. It's good. So we can go on. We've got our indications. We can jot them down that I want definitely to look into. The amperage, which was low, volts, which was low, and resistance. Okay. Always make your notes while you're going along so you know where you're going. Okay. So in my blue box here, what's the highest number? Mental. So the issues with this child seems to have a lot of mental clutter, let's say. we need to, there's a lot of stress around their, the too much thoughts going on. So it's nice to always look at here so you know where you should focus. Here, of course, we should focus on the brain, meaning and their thoughts and clearing their thoughts. So clearing their stress. Okay, let's take a look here really quick at the matrix and what I meant beforehand, that I don't want to overload you and overwhelm you with too much information, because our next webinar will be on reading the matrix. So there I will go into a lot of detail on how you should be reading the matrix. But here I won't go into specifics, just, kind of overall. I want to load the first few items that we see on the matrix. Let's take a look at what they are. Growth hormone. So growth hormone gives me an idea that, again, probably the child isn't sleeping enough. Growth hormone is a hormone that is released during the night, specifically usually around 10 to 2 during the night. And if a person is not sleeping, it's not released. So perhaps it's not going into the deep stages of sleep as it should be, the child. Second coming up, endero, bowel, colon, so digestive issues. Remember in my previous webinars, we said one of the main issues, again, for the autistic children and people are their digestive issues. So it's coming up number 2 here, emotion, sensitive, they're sad. Okay, remember our amperage was low. So these are things that, we need to look into more while we're doing our therapy. There's some sinuses going on, a worm in the intestinal, emotional, physical aging. Okay, emotion, immune weakness, immune. Again, remember, in our previous sessions, I also informed you that we should be working on their immune system and their thymus gland, the pineal gland, very important for these children. Bones, coffee. I hope maybe they're not drinking coffee as a child. I don't know if they're drinking coffee or possibly something with caffeine like Coca-Cola. That's the worst thing you can give these persons. Okay, so I just look at the first few items usually to have an idea in the beginning of what are their first stressors. If I want to go in deeper, I will show you the next time on how to go deeper into the matrix. But now for our purposes today, I'll only go for the first few. Okay, something else that I'd like to do though, while looking at the matrix is, let's see, going into Bach flower as a subfilter. See what is over 100 and see what are the 90s, how many 90s there are. Okay, Bach flowers, there's not too many high ones, but here in blood, insulin, giving me an idea that maybe either they're eating too much sugar or they're not eating every 3 hours, which lowers their blood sugar levels. This we have to talk with their parent and make sure their dietary plan is a good one, because since we saw in the first matrix, we saw coffee, now we're seeing the insulin, something's going on there. Okay, and remember, our therapy on the eductor is, on the eductor 1 is 50% of the therapy. The other 50% of what they're doing in their daily life is so important. They're eating correctly, what they're doing and how their environment is. It's very, very important. Okay, let's see the chromosomes. Okay, the good thing is that we don't see a lot of reds. We don't see reds in the chromosome. We don't see numbers over 100, but there are a few over 90s that we should be considering. Okay, let's take a look at them really quick and see if maybe, okay, see the one that's coming up again is the glycogen storage, sucrose intolerance again. Okay, all these bowel, okay, all these are items in the yellows are issues that can be associated with autism. Okay, let's go a little further down to diseases. What's coming up in diseases? Here's some red. Maybe they have some kind of digestive issues now. And when their immune system is low, when something is not going right, it's more challenging for them. It's not normal for them. It's not easy for them to get over small things that we may consider as a little bit of diarrhea, let's say, may be simple for us, but it's a challenge for these people. So, we have to take them into consideration. There's some stomach aches. So, we can ask their caregiver what's going on. You see here, Crohn's is also maybe an issue. So we really have to take care of what is going on with their dietary dietary issues. Okay, so those are the main things that I like to look at. I would load them, since I loaded whatever I thought was appropriate to load into the blue box. I loaded them here too, so it can be worked on throughout the whole therapy. Now here, we like to look at explore risk of and regular dysfunction. Regulatory dysfunction undetected, okay. Explore risk of energy management dysfunction. Remember in our previous webinars, I told you that when it says energy management dysfunction, we really have to look into the energetics, negative energies around them. Remember, as I said, babies or children that can't speak, even though they can't speak, they can pick up everything around them. They can pick up what their mother or father or caregiver is feeling. They feel the aura, they feel the energetics, they see the frowns, possibly, expressions, they see everything. So anything that's negative energy, they can really feel it. There's some negative energy around them. So we definitely have to help them lower this dysfunction so they get that load off them, off their shoulder. Very important. When it says explore risk of reactivity dysfunction, it means that there was a reactivity dysfunction during the testing. Means that the testing couldn't be done as the eductor as the device wanted it to be done. Something wasn't being retrieved correctly. That could be because there was resistance. Remember, there was resistance from the client, or maybe the immune system is low, but something is going on, and that needs a little investigation. So far, we've seen that, they may have diarrhea. There's something going on around the person. Let's take a look, maybe perhaps COVID, just in case. See where that is. Oh, it's 102. You see, so maybe the immune system is low. Maybe something is going around that child, and that's why there's a reactivity dysfunction. So, always look at what this is and investigate for some reason. So definitely, so far, we have to work the immune system. So far, we have to work the energetics. I have that information. So let's begin short circuits. We start loading the startup. Remember, I told you how the startup, we'll do it all so I can show you. Shortcut to RX. We load this and take a look before we close. What's going on here? Some bean mix, immune, bone of the jaw, growth hormone for the sleeping issues. Let me write that down so I remember. Okay, again, the endero for the bowel is coming up. Okay, so I load and, I load. When you load it, it turns yellow. If you accidentally press it a second time, it turns blue again, so it's not loaded. Loading means it's yellow. So we'll close here. And before I go into further therapies, I'd like to start up a little bit with their brain. Okay. Possibly this one. I like this one. Okay. And let's, start working on their brain. It's so important to work their brain because remember, this is a neurological issue, the autism. Their brain is different than, let's say, normal or other persons. Okay, so, and it's seen on the MRI that it's different. It's smaller. Okay, so we have to work on their brain so they can neurologically grow. And they do. I've had children, and when they first come, the head harness is so small, and the head harness is too big for their head. And as sessions go by, we see that their head is getting bigger, and it's getting at a more normal size for their age, So, okay, so we went to 100. Let's see down here, 100 repair, inflammation 77, but it's 100% toxic. So remember, we want those numbers at least 10% under the repaired rectification number. So we'll do it again and again till we get that. I'm not working at this point specific part of the brain. I'm working the entire brain. So that's why I'm double clicking on the white part. Okay, the toxic is still higher than the repaired. Okay, so now I got repaired at 83 and everything's at least 10% lower. Doesn't matter that I didn't get an 85%. I got the repaired number over all the other numbers. So we're okay to continue. Now, for your information, okay, let's say this is the first session I have on this child. On further sessions, I will start to work on specific areas of the brain. The motor and speech area of the Broca, that is a very important part of the frontal lobe, and it helps with the speech, working the entire frontal lobe, the temporal lobe, parietal lobe, all these areas one by one working it. You can spend a whole session just on the brain, okay? And getting everything repaired and getting it repaired over all the other numbers. Very, very important. But as a first session, I don't suggest it because they may get a headache. So I'm not going to do it as the first session, but I'm just giving you ideas for later on sessions, okay? Now I can go to ear end, etc. Okay, and work a little bit of their large intestine, okay, to activate the large intestine. Remember, they had diarrhea. It's a very good idea for these children to take probiotics. 55, 68 infection. Okay, very important for these children to take probiotics. There are in the market by age group. You can find probiotics. I suggest in the beginning they could take morning and night 2 times a day, and then later on 1 time a day. It really, really helps them. Because, okay, ideally it would be great if they eat kefir and yogurt and etc. But how much could they eat? And you don't know if they'll eat it, or if they they start getting the processed ones with the sugars and stuff like that. So it's better just to give them the probiotic. It'll help them with their digestive issues. Okay, you see we're having an issue repairing them. I want to make sure we get a good result so that we continue. We're double clicking on the white area. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, we're getting there. The repaired number is getting higher. But we still want those other numbers lower. '87, degeneration is 94. We're getting there. Okay, even though we didn't get a repaired number over 85, we still got it over the other numbers. And because we're doing it over and over again, I can accept this and go on. It's up to you if you want to do it over 85, but I think it's good. It's okay to stop here. I want to do also one for the endocrine and the pituitary, the pineal, the hypothalamus, the whole endocrine system. Help them hormonally so they can sleep better, hormonally, it's, biochemically in general to be better. Okay, it'll help their serotonin levels. Remember, amperage was low. So let's do it one more time. Remember, in this area, in the short circuits, we're warming the client up for the deeper therapies. It's just as when we do a warm-up when we're training and doing our gym, we warm up and we warm down. We always have to do that again with the therapies as well. So, that way the therapy doesn't fall too heavy on them. We always have to think about the client. We don't want to, the therapy to, we want the therapy to go smoothly. Okay. We don't want the therapy to be too heavy for them, just as we do with training. And if we go all of a sudden into an advanced training course, we're sore the next day. We don't want that. We want everything to be smoothly, their therapy. So, okay, so how did we go there? Here, toxic is 94%. Let's do it one more time. Okay, really good. So we got a repaired number, 98%, and everything else at a lower percentage. Okay, so we can go on. Close here. And on next. Okay, I want you to always, pay attention to what's going on with the matrix. When you close a certain panel, sometimes, the matrix gives you indications. It's giving us an indication of their lower right tooth, the lateral incisor. Something's going on there. So, maybe this is giving us an indication that later on, maybe we should go into the dental program as well. Okay. Okay, so now, after the short circuits, we go to the risk profile. So here we see a lot of issues. First coming up, bacteria. Interesting. Okay, remember, there's bacteria going on in the bowel issues, and this is challenging for the autistic child. DNA inherited is coming up. So we definitely want to work on DNA. Emotional, we definitely want to work on that. Sugar regulation. Remember in the matrix, we saw insulin coming up. And in the chromosomes, we saw issues there. So we either have to, it's a good idea to get some blood exams, see where their glycemic levels are, make sure there's nothing going on there. And if nothing's going on there, or if there is something going on there, we can work more on sugar regulation, diabetes in the program. Otherwise, we have to really focus on their diet and make sure they're not eating too much sugar, but they're eating regularly every 3 hours so their sugar level doesn't fall. Because when the sugar level falls, remember, they get upset. These children, it's more challenging. We all get upset when we're hungry. Can you imagine these children get even more upset? It's obvious. Now, hypoadrenia is also coming up, so they're not sleeping well. Environmental, cardiovascular, immune, digestive, circulation, all these are all logical. All these are issues that we went over the past two webinars that we had, all of them. It's interesting how they all come up. Okay, so I loaded them all. We do a treat above till we get a good rectification over 85. All these items now are loaded to be loaded on the body viewer so they can be piggybacked throughout the entire session. Okay, 97%, fantastic. So I could, I could, if I wanted, to go into a virtual doctor test in some of these. I think it's a good idea if we do. We get more information on what's going on. So let's do a virtual doctor test on the bacteria to make sure you're doing it on the bacteria or whatever one you choose. Make sure whatever you're doing the virtual doctor test on, whatever here is on the pink line. So we have bacteria and we press virtual doctor test. So in reality, what the virtual doctor test is, it's testing the bacteria and the causes of the bacteria and the issues of the bacteria in the client. It's like the testing that we did in the beginning, the first 3 minutes, that's on the entire matrix, but this is only on the bacteria. So if you have a hammer, you treat everything as a nail. What you sow is reap. What you sow, you reap. Okay, I am free from excess anger. So there's anger going on. That's why the resistance, remember, was low. Karmic backlash. Interesting. These are all, ideas of what we need to go over: emotional stress, trauma, detox of bowel and liver. So we got a rectification of over 45. So we can do a treat again until the rectification is over 85. And while it's treating, we can look over the rest. So yeah, it's coming up autistic. It's coming up St. Georgie Cross, geopathic stress. And these things do affect the blood sugar, geopathic stress. They have to look into what's going on, the electrical energies in the room, in their bedroom, or where the child is most of the time of day. Needs to be looked into. Okay, serotonin, dopamine levels are low, glucosamine. Okay, again, issue of memory. Okay, it helps with memory, and the intestinal lining. Okay, nervous tremors, giddiness, loss of consciousness, hysterical, neuralgia, headaches, insomnia. Okay, it's giving us some Amon Valeriana and Lachesis. These are homeopathics, these items. So it's also giving them, these items are good to give. We're giving them through the therapy energetically. Most possible stressed organ is the stomach. Okay, so something's going on there. The digestive issue, like we said before, we have to look into how they're eating, and definitely a probiotic will work. Now, the stomach, of course, issues of the stomach are issues of worrying, of stress in general. Okay, we have a rectification of 82. We'll do it one more time so we can get it over 85. And when we're doing treat on all panel, we're giving a small zap to all these items. Either it's a zap or we're giving these homeopaths as a frequency to the client. Okay, also giving them germanium, phosphorus, and boron, which is good for, in general, their neurological issues. Now from here, we're going to see what the entailed areas are. Let's see, we got the rectification at 95. So there's stress going on and vitamin deficiency or excess. What does that mean? Vitamin deficiency or excess, it means either they're eating too much of the same food, they're eating too much in general, or they're not eating a variety of foods, getting vitamins from all the foods. Okay, let's double click. So the vitamin deficiency is affecting their hormonal issues, the endocrine. Okay, so we definitely have to work on hormones and nutrition. The stress, what does that come up? Nerval. Okay, neurology, the brain. Okay, so, I've written down here quite a lot of things to go over. So in one session, we have so many things that we should go over. Okay, so let's zap close, and we can quickly see what zap is coming up. It says coronavirus. Maybe that's why they had the reactivity dysfunction, the explore risk of reactivity dysfunction that I said in the beginning. Something's going on around it. AIDS doesn't mean that that person has AIDS, but it means that something's going on with their immune system. And the coronavirus is very similar to the AIDS virus as well. So that's why they're both X'd. Okay, aggressive dysfunction, that's the aggressive dysfunction, autoimmune. Flu virus, obviously, something's going on with their immune. Fungus, top pathogens, as we said before, for their colon. Miasms, remember when we talked about the miasms? We're definitely going to work on the miasms. DNA is coming up. Remember, inherited in the top risks. And the food poisoning. Something's going on with the food poisoning and the food that they're eating. Food poisoning doesn't necessarily mean that they are eating food that has gone bad. It could also mean they're eating food that is poisonous for them, let's say according to their blood type. Okay, so maybe we should look into that as well. Looking into their nutritional factors and what they're eating, what goes with them according to their blood type when food poisoning comes up. Okay, mental health and bowel flora, that's what we talked about in the beginning. Now, if it's a boy, something's going on here too. Okay, so it's the hormonal issues and the stress. Okay, so for the erectile dysfunction. Okay, so as part of the startup, like I have gone over in previous sessions, from here we go into the universal biofeedback therapy. Now, remember, in the beginning, it said the energetic management dysfunction. So we do also want to work on our spiritual. So I'd like to do in this, when spiritual issues come up in energetic management dysfunction, I would normally do 3 minutes. But for now, For our purposes, I will only do 1 minute. But remember, when there are issues of energetic energies going on and spiritual energies, I would like to do 3 minutes. Okay. Okay, so since we've already done the short SAR codes and the risks, and while this is working, I could start loading my piggybacks. So I'll press the third eye stimulation, which I love. I absolutely love the third eye stimulation. It's the pineal gland. We're working on the pineal gland. And remember from our previous webinars, pineal gland is so important for so many things. It awakens us. It increases our intuition. It increases our immune system. It increases the universe inside us. Okay, so look what came up. Ascension, awakening, pineal gland detox and enlightenment, soul-meat contact, therapy frequency. Fantastic. I could also click on some, just know that when the main therapy is over, it just, it flashes back there. So we went 37%. Let me do it one more time to get a better rectification. See, in the beginning, I should have put it 3 minutes. I knew it needed 3 minutes from the beginning. So let's toggle back to our third eye stimulation. I want also to do the calming and relaxation. So, in the beginning, I do the unconscious frequency, but I may want to, select some other things as well, some other items. So I click for long-term therapy and I start. Okay, so I can toggle back. That's working. I toggle back to the main program. So while this is working, I could also load the body viewer. Okay, while that's loading, I'm sure this is going to finish soon. Let me toggle back. Okay, rectification 53. Let me just do another 3 minutes and make sure we get a better rectification for the spiritual healing. Very important because something's going on there. So, body viewer. Let's go back to the body viewer and load what we want. We want infinite run. Okay, we want to do the movie program to start the info exchange. So here we see whatever was piggybacked from the risk profile. So the brain, frontal lobe to help with the communication skills, all the sensory, parietal, temporal, occipital, limbic, all the parts of the brain is very important to load, and I'll tell you why in one moment. Let me load the cerebellum. Okay, so as you see here, one by one, they were all loaded. If I went directly to the brain and loaded all, they wouldn't be all loaded. When you load each one, you're making sure that each one is being piggybacked. Very important. So, digestive system, the stomach. Remember, the most stressed organ was the stomach. So we want to piggyback that one. We want to piggyback the small intestine. We want to piggyback the large intestine. Okay. DNA. Remember the inherited issues that came up. Endocrine, adrenals. Adrenal, remember, was low. The hypothalamus, definitely. Okay. Immune, let's load up the thymus. Oops, the endocrine. I want to load up the pineal as well, and the endocrine. Okay. So in the immune, we did the thymus and the spleen, making sure, okay, lymph is healthy. That's great. And what's going on with their lymph? Lymph is degenerative. Okay, so we want to open that lymph up, probably from the bacteria or the immune system that's low. Okay, in therapies, we would want to do anti-infection since something's going on with your immune system. Immune and stress. Okay, and let's take a look at their aura, because remember their energetics weren't that good. You see red clouds, that's anger coming up. Remember, anger came up in the virtual doctor test that we did too. So let's try to clear that aura. Their arms seem to be heavy. Maybe they're tired. Beautiful, pink, big aura. So we got a rectification 68. So I would normally do it over and over again until we get at least a rectification of 85. Okay? This therapy is not hard on them. It's good. It clears them. It's very good to do it. And I would do it. But right now, I want to go on. Okay? So I will minimize it. And the next thing I will do, I will go into the electrophysiological oscillation programs. Because there was an issue of the energetic dysfunction, I go directly to the subspace morphic trans. I want to clear their energetics. And one of the basic reasons, if we clear the energetics, then they're more open to whatever therapy we're doing. Okay, very important. So while this is working, let's do the piggybacks again, where I want to leave this off. Remember, here in Eductor 1 therapy, there's also the autistic, autism 1, autism 2, learning disability 1 and 2. You can also do the auditory. These are all very important, all the auditory, the ear, the eye. Okay, making sure you help them relieve all their stressors in their sensory issues. Okay. Okay. We can also do children therapy. Children therapy is always good because it helps them, be more calm, the children therapy. Okay. And we could, and it shows the Taurus of forgiveness so that they can be more forgiving. So, we piggybacked all these things that's working on them while this is also working on them. So we're creating a really good environment, a training environment for the child. Okay, so we are still working on the polymorphic. So another thing that's really important is the quantum prayer. Since the energetic came up, we definitely want to do the energetic management dysfunction. It's very important to put also the quantum prayer. Help clear the surroundings of the child. Okay. You need to load your prayers here. We need to do probably a small webinar on how the quantum prayer works. So here, because the subspace morphic trans finished, it popped us back here. Again, I click everything. This is a faster way of working it. When I click them all and I press start, so they can start clearing. All the levels will start clearing. So going back to the quantum prayer, you have to load in your prayers. I need to do a small webinar on this as well. We can't go into detail for this now, but whoever needs more information, they can contact me for probably a private lesson, or at some point we'll do a webinar on this as well. So we want to click the Schumann wave, the UHF. So it popped us back here. Again, they're not all corrected. So we start again until they're all grayed out and corrected. So we want to check the prayer wheel, the radionics, the cybernetic loop, the origami field. Okay, let's go to functions. Subspace searching, so the quantum prayer can be connected to the client. Okay, seems to need vitamin A, and they are too sensitive. So, we have to talk to their caregivers, to their parents, that they are very sensitive. So they have to be really, really careful on how they talk to them. The stressors of life sometimes for the parents, sometimes, they bring their issues home. And these children are very, very sensitive, and they pick up on everything. So it appears here too. They're just too sensitive, and they may take everything personally. So they have to be very, very careful how they speak to this child. Okay, vitamin A, they should eat more carrots, maybe more pumpkin, maybe apricots, anything that's orange. Vitamin A. Okay, let's see their life force. Oh, went back here. So we just have two more to be grayed out. We're doing good. Let's go back to the quantum prayer. Total life force 47. Boy, they're really, really tired. So we really have to fix their nutritional issue and fix their sleeping habits. That is very, very important. Okay, let's check for the negative energy. What's going on here? No disturbances detected. Great. So we go back to the CPU control and we just leave it gain its momentum. And the more the quantum prayer is working, the more it's protecting their field around them for positive energy. So here it popped us back to the subspace morphic trans panel. Everything is grayed out. So we're fine on that area. So let's go to the nervous system and work on the vagus, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. By this point, either the child may be sleeping or they're very, very relaxed. Remember what I told you? I usually put Netflix or something on for the children so they can be seeing. Everything is allowed for the children so they can at least sit with you for an hour and a half to 2 calmly. After the first session, they realize what you're doing and they feel so good that they actually love to come to you. That is definitely, but the first session is always a little bit of challenging because they don't know what to expect. But once they start understanding what you're doing, you're not hurting them, you're making them feel better, that they have a clearer mind after they leave from you. They actually love coming to you. I see that daily in my practice, that I see these children just, come up and they bounce into my arms and they hug me. And it's so rewarding for me knowing that, I'm helping them so much. And, the parents see it. The parents really, really see it. And it's really amazing, the work that we're doing. Teachers are seeing it. In general, their other therapists are seeing the work that we do. And it's, coinciding with all the therapies. They may be doing speech therapy. They may be doing physiological, gym and stuff like that, physiotherapy. And the other therapists see that their work is much easier after our therapies. Yeah. So remember from our other webinars, after the vagus, we go to the sympathetic. Vagus, we saw that we had a rectification of 46, meaning we have to do it a second time around when we go around. Now we're doing the sympathetic. Let's see what rectification we're going to have here. Everything's running smoothly on the piggyback therapies. You can put more piggyback therapies. You can put as much as you want, depending on how the memory of and how good your laptop is and how much it can contain. But because right now we're also doing the webinar on the same laptop, I don't want to overload with my piggyback therapies. I think this is enough so I don't start getting stuck. Okay, so the sympathetic stabilization got a rectification of 78, meaning again, we have to go to the sympathetic a second time. Let's see now the parasympathetic, what rectification we get. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm so excited. Unfortunately, I can't see who's on with us. Remember to give me your names. Remember to tell me where you're from. Remember to write any questions if you have any, and we'll get to them at the end of the session. I'll get to you. I love having you every 2 weeks, and this is our last webinar before the end of the year. So I want to make the most of it and be with you. That's why I wanted this a 2-hour session, so I can be with you. Our next webinar will be in the beginning of January. We'll get back to you when it's going to be. We'll decide with Peter. So on the parasympathetic, we got a rectification of 100. Great. So let's do the vagus one more time and the sympathetic afterwards to make sure we get a good rectification on those two, and then we'll go on. Okay. So this is going to be like a minute. I really want to see who's on. Let's stop sharing for just 1 minute and let me see who's with us. So hello, B from Budapest. Thank you. Tina, Thomas, Mezzi. Any questions you have, just make sure you ask me. Beatrice, thank you. Thank you. I love having all of you here with me. Beatrice from Satumare. Remember to tell me who else is on. Hello, Yanina. Hello, hello. Sending you my love. Let me turn on this screen again to see where we're at with Vegas. Amanda. Hello, Amanda. Okay, so we went 100% on the vagus, and we'll do on the sympathetic one more time, and then we'll keep on going. Okay, so far we kind of worked on the energetics. We still have more to work on the energetic management dysfunction. We're not finished with that, but I'm, combining everything as I go on along, so I don't go back and forth. From here, we're finished with the energy management dysfunction with the subspace morphic trans. And after we finish with the startup and the neurological here and the 2 suggested therapies, we're going to finish off in the main panels with the energetic management dysfunction. So we make sure that, they're cleared, so that way any further therapies we do, they will feel it and they'll go deeper. You know, there won't be any blockages. They'll be unblocked. This is so important for them. It's very important that, you know, you do things with a logic, with your intention. Your intention on how you work is so important. You know, knowing what you're doing and understanding what you're doing. So a sympathetic 100%. Okay, so at this point, doing the autonerval system, we've relaxed them. We've done all their nervous system. Let's work a little bit of their brain and reduce their stress. I like to do the treat stress for, especially for children, because, you know, sometimes I've noticed by doing theta on children may get them overly excited. For older people, theta is fantastic, but for younger children, it's good to do the stress or even the insomnia. Since they're not, this child wasn't sleeping well, maybe I'll do the insomnia since they had the issue with the sleeping issue. Remember, the first line on the matrix was the growth hormone. We're going to take a look at that later. So I chose the delta for insomnia so we can help them with their sleeping, and the normal. And our goal is the normal to be the highest number from all the other numbers. They used to say to us that it should be at least 10 points over the other numbers, but actually it's not needed in our device, because our device is so sensitive that the numbers tend to be all high. So our main goal is for the normal just to be the highest number. I've noticed when I first work on somebody, it may take even 10 times for this to be accomplished, the normal to be over. But when you start working on a person more regularly, it could even be done even in the first time around. So it was lower, I'm going to do it again. You do it again and again until your normal is at the highest. Let's see what's going to come up now. So you'll notice that the system is working at a very high level, but it's on auto focus. It means that the person can handle it. It's no problem. So the normal is 112, but I see also another number, local slow waves, also at 112. So I'd like to do it one more time. Okay. So perhaps, we got it within the third time. It always depends on the person and, their history, if there's brain damage, if there are other issues, neurological issues. When a person doesn't sleep, when they have insomnia issues, even if a person comes with a whole list of items to be addressed, if one of those issues is insomnia and that they don't sleep well, that's the first thing that really we should be working on. So 99, we still have other numbers that are higher, so let's do it one more time. Yeah, because remember, the neurological system, it's very important for the neurological system to sleep well. This is a time when you relax most. Babies grow while they're sleeping. Sleeping is so important. It's important for the entire system. And you see the growth hormone is stressed if a person doesn't sleep, especially the hours that they're supposed to sleep or in how deep they're supposed to sleep. There's 5 stages of sleeping. They should go to the 5th stage of sleeping. Now, one thing that you have to discuss with their caregivers for these children, make sure that there's no electromagnetic fog in their bedroom. Electromagnetic fog, or an electromagnetic pollution, as they say it, is really an issue of our days, of our century. And it affects how we sleep. There shouldn't be any kind of electromagnetic waves going in the bedroom because it'll affect it'll disrupt our whole hormonal system, endocrine system, and it won't let us go to the 5th stage of sleep. So TVs should not be in the room. If there is a TV in the room, and it has to be in the room because some people cannot have their room without the TV, then I suggest solutions like having a timer in the plug. That way, at let's say 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock latest, the electricity is shut off going to the TV, and that way the standby light is not on. Most TVs nowadays have timers and they can shut it off, and everybody says, well, I have a timer. We don't want that, because still when the TV is on standby, it emits electromagnetic fog and pollution. So we don't want that. So my only solution is either pull the plug before you go to sleep or have a timer on the plug. Okay, that's one solution. The best solution is not to have any TV in the room. Telephone, no mobile phones in the room. If there is a mobile phone in the room, take it out of the room. Take it, not even in airplane mode. I remember when I used to fly, before COVID, I used to fly a lot. Every week I was in the plane going back and forth to my office in Thessaloniki to go. I was between Athens and Thessaloniki all the time before COVID. And I remember sometimes I would forget to put my mobile in my purse, and I would have it in my hand. It was a half-an-hour flight. Even though it was on airplane mode, my hand would still be numb, I remember, and tingling from the electromagnetic emittance. So it means even if it's in airplane mode, there's still electromagnetic going around. It's the same thing, let's say, with the microwaves. Even if they're not, just the fact that they're plugged in, not working, but plugged in, they're still emitting. So, phones should not be next to the bed. They should be either across the room or outside of the room. When people have their mobiles next to their bed, what happens is, because the bed has metal, springs in the mattress, it's a whole, and with the electromagnetic field that's being created with the phone next to the bed, they're sleeping on an entire field of electromagnetic. So you don't want your phones next to your bed. You want them either across or out of the room. You can still wake up with the alarm. You can still wake up even if you just have to get up. Everything is just a matter of, we're doing this again because the normal is still low. Everything is just a matter of, getting used to it. Okay, another thing that many parents have are the Wi-Fis that they can hear their children. That's not a good idea too, because those are Wi-Fis. They emit a lot of electromagnetic smog. What else? The Wi-Fi, the modem. The modems, of course, should not be in the children's room and not even next to the room. Modems should be even closed at nighttime. Okay, they shouldn't be shown. I mean, there's a lot of electromagnetic waves going on from there. Your neighbor will not close it, but the point that you will close it is one less. Okay, so that's really important. The point is just reducing the electromagnetic smog and pollution, because if you could actually see it, the entire room will be red. Okay, now obviously this situation with this patient, we need a lot of times for the normal to become the highest. So when you see you're doing it over and over again, you just know that there's work to be done. It's okay. We've done it quite a few times. You don't want to do it anymore. Okay. You don't want to tire the patient. So we just go on. Anyhow, we'll be doing other brainwave activity training. So it's okay that we leave it and it's under the other numbers. We've done some work. Let it be at that. We still have more future sessions with a child to get it corrected within the first or second time that we do it. Now, sorry, I pressed it without telling you anything. I pressed the attention deficit brain fatigue leap. Okay, I'll calculate and continue. You don't need to go over all the questions. Okay, you can to get it more focused, but I have total trust in the eductor and the way that it reads everything. So it knows what it reads. We don't need to go over all the questions. It's reading the child either way. So let's go into the dyslexia and dysphonia repair. So it'll start working on especially the frontal area. Okay, 65%. We can do it one more time. We got a one repair there. The rest is in inflammation. And you know, what causes inflammation? Inflammation is caused usually by toxicity, by sugar, virus causes infection, causes inflammation. So, you know, these are things that we have to work with. That's why we want to give definitely the probiotic will help and make sure that we fix the dietary issues. Okay, so we have some temporarily rectified, but overall it's rectified at 100. So we can go to the next one, the LEAP General Learning Repair. Okay, the minute we press that one, another button here opens for our next therapy, the Treat HDID. Okay. So it's working the entire brain. Very, very important. At the same time, by working the brain, we see some patterns coming up, social stress pattern, sadness pattern, lack of good sleep is what we said before. Okay, so rectification 100. We can do the treat in HDID. This button doesn't always come up. It comes up when it's needed. Okay, so when it comes up, it's a good idea to do it because it is needed. Let's see what else here. It's mineral deficiency. Okay, so there's that vitamin deficiency that we were talking about before. Fear patterns. So we should go into the fears as well. So much to do. Phobia and fear, guilt. Poor child is feeling guilt. Okay, that is something that we know we should talk with their caregiver as well, but we can work on that guilt as well. Okay, sadness, amino acid deficiency, and lack of good sleep 2 times. When you see a repetition of something coming up, like this is 2 times, it's an issue. Okay, so possible emotional superimposition. That's the energetic issues coming up, and that may be affecting their sleep. So we have to work on that. Okay, so we got 100% here too. It doesn't matter that they're not all rectified. The important is that most of them are rectified and that we have a good rectification number. Okay, so we can go on and we can close here. Okay, now we go into the universal, the therapies that, the top suggested therapies that are in yellow and purple. So we're lucky today, it came up that we do the auto color therapy and auto scalar. Why we're lucky? Because those are quick therapies. We have like other therapies, for instance, the meridian therapy, meridian allergy therapies, the DNA and the trivector that, you know, they're more time consuming. So, okay, we'll go into what is suggested here. We first go into the auto color therapy. We start color therapy. As this is running, we can go into the scalar therapy. Press scalar. Okay, because we have the web camera, sometimes I see some things getting stuck. It's because we have a lot of things running at the same time with the web camera. So now we're in the scalar and we treat all. Okay, our goal here when we treat them is for all the chakras to be rectified over 85. Okay, and at the same time in the background, the color therapy is running. So at the end, we'll see what color is therapeutic for the patient today. Whatever color comes up is a good idea to tell them, well, for the rest of the day, wear that color, wear something with that color. It's happened many times. People come in with their therapeutic color, as if their subconscious knows what's therapeutic for them that day. It's funny. It happens very often, not always, but it does happen. If they're not wearing that specific color, you can tell them, go home, change. It's good for you to wear this color because it's therapeutic for you. Okay, so this is running. So, as I said in the beginning, this is all part of our startup, how we call it, the warm-up of our client. And after this, we go into some main panels to go deeper into the therapies. So things that we had said in the beginning that we want to go over, we want to finish with their energy management dysfunction. We want to see their hormones, especially the growth hormone, and we want to do sleep therapy, which is very, very important. We said that a person, if they have problems sleeping, and they have a whole list of problems, but one of them is insomnia issues, that's the first thing that you want to work on, because if you correct the insomnia, many of the other issues will be solved automatically as well. Okay, so that's another issue. We'll see also the dental if we have time. I want to go into the NLPs as well. We want to go into the phobia and guilt. We'll see what we have time. We always keep our therapy in 1.5 to 2 hours. So you don't go over, you don't want to tire that person. So you put priorities, whatever you have time, whatever you don't have time, you circle it for the next time and see if it comes up. Because remember, sometimes when you do things, either way, some other of the things, of the issues are also solved too. So it's okay if you don't do everything. They will be solved. So what's under 85? The spleen, gallbladder infection, the adrenals. Okay, so we'll click it one time to get it over 85. Great. The kidneys. Great, so we have everything over 85. We're finished from here. Let's go back. And we see that we got a green color. So this is what we suggest. This color is here, comes up from our color therapy. This is what we suggest for this client to wear for the rest of the day. Or if it's nighttime, to sleep with something that color. Okay, it will be very therapeutic for them. So we're finished with the startup. And we go into our main matrix panel to maintain therapy. Remember I said when you close a panel, just, look at where it's left off, where the matrix is trying to talk to you and tell you, we still have issues with the intestinal. It's coming up here. Okay. Either way, we're going to be working on the intestinal, and either way, you're going to be giving them also the probiotic. Very, very important. So now we want to finish with the energy management dysfunction. So we want to go here to the body scan and phase therapy. Something I like to do here, when you press skin rejuvenation and you close, actually, I wanted the notions to come up. The notions will come up, sorry, after the scan all. Okay, so let me do the scan all. Sorry, sorry about that. We'll do first the scan all. And we'll notice later on a new button will appear. So we scan all to see all the dimensions of the aura and see where there's snags. Very, very important, because this will clear any energetic management dysfunction. It will clear traumas. Okay, so here we see the foci, here we see the chakras all around, all over the place, that they need alignment, but also the foci. So before we start treating the foci, this is the button I wanted, the aura, cleanse, notion. If you notice here on the bottom, the pink lines are empty. So we want to press that 2 or 3 times, okay, and they are loading here in the pink lines. Okay, sorry, because my, with the web camera, I have sticky issues, let's say. Okay, so here, some issues come up here that are piggybacked, that it's a good idea to have them. That way, while you're working on your aura, it's also working on those items as well. So you're layering in more therapies, more piggybacks. So you want to treat foci here to clear all the foci. For some reason, it's here down on the bottom. Okay, it's gotten smaller down to the feet. Maybe their feet are hurting. Something, maybe they had some kind of trauma there, or maybe they want to be grounded. For some reason, the foci is down there. There's always a reason. Always a reason. So from the aura, we go to the front and we'll go to each side, clearing the foci. Okay, so every time the eductor is working, anything we've loaded in the background, remember in the short sarcos, now here on the pink lines down here, the blue box from the main matrix that we loaded items there. Anything that we've loaded, anytime the eductor working, his panel is working, it's all these things are piggybacked. So you're layering in more items to work on and to focus on. So you go into a deeper therapy this way. So we're treating the foci on each side to clear all the foci and lighten the burden off them. That's why, most of my clients, when they leave, they say, oh, I feel so light. I feel like a whole load has, been taken off my shoulders or off my chest. These things, it's very important to listen to what the eductor and the software is telling you, so you can work on exactly what they need, not what we think they need. That's why when people ask me, what's your protocol and what do you do for this kind of situation? Well, okay, there's basic guidelines for everything, sure. But we always have to go with what's going on with them. Okay, we'll learn more the next time when we do our next webinar with the reading the matrix. Okay, so on each left, right, on each side, we cleared the foci. We came back to aura now, and we come down here to cybernetic correction. You know, I showed you another time this thing, but this is really, really important to do it right and to do it correctly. So we will do the cybernetic correction. With the cybernetic correction comes up here, RS mags. So it's good to look what's going on here. There's an issue with antagonism, inadequacy. They don't feel adequate enough for some reason. They're frustrated. There's an issue with being unrealistic or not being aware. They don't like not being aware. They feel hopeless despair. You know, these are all stressful emotions for them. So after the cybernetic correction, we go to retrain, and we do this over and over again till the chakras are all in line, but also till you get a full spectrum of all the colors, till the outer layer of the aura. You want it full. Ooh, we got the colors, but we didn't get the chakras aligned yet. So let's do it again. That's a first. It usually takes longer for the colors to get aligned. Ooh, this is the first time I've ever seen this dramatic dysfunction and disconnection. So you know, you always want to look at what the eductor is telling you. And now it's saying disconnection in all layers of foci and etheric and cosmic. Etheric and cosmic. There's a reason why I'm writing these down, which I'll tell you later. These are all magical. Flaw in cosmic. So I'll put a little star on cosmic. Strange, before it said dramatic issue. So we're still doing it, retrain again till everything's aligned, till we get our colors, till the outer layer. Okay, the cosmic and the etheric seem to clear up, which is good. But I still put them here because I want to show you something afterwards. Flaw in astral and flaw in astral and causal. Okay, so we got it as we wanted it. They're all aligned and the colors are till the outer rim, which is good. But there's still, it says, a flaw in the astral and the causal. Okay, so I jotted that down so I can show you later. We have issues with antagonism, inadequacy. You know, all these things are really good to discuss with their caregivers, with their parents, with the mother, with the father, so that I know the family knows what is going on with the child. Okay. Unrealistic may come up because, you know, they get frustrated when things are unrealistic, when people, let's say, are telling them lies, or, you know, they're not, they get frustrated. They're frustrated for some reason with being unrealistic or with others being unrealistic. Maybe they're frustrated with their own self that they are unrealistic. Okay, and they realize that their mind maybe is flowing elsewhere. You know, these things you have to judge, you discuss either with the same client or with their parents, depending. They want to, when it says unaware, they want to be aware. Tell the clients, tell the parents to discuss with a child everything, to discuss what they're doing today, what they're doing, what their program is, where they're going, what things are going on. They don't like to be unaware. It stresses them. The children with the autistic, in the autistic spectrum, they need a program, and they want to know exactly what their program is all day, what they will eat, what they will do in each hour. One idea is always, every morning, make a little chart, put it on the refrigerator, say, this is our program today, this is what we're going to be eating. They like to know what their program is, so they're not surprised. They don't like surprises. Hopeless despair is, when they feel like they're in hopeless despair. They feel like, they can't be helped by anyone, and that is not a good feeling. It's very challenging for them. So we really reduce their stress. Okay, when so many things comes up, we definitely need to go into NLP, but let's finish with the energetic management dysfunction. We want to do the aura cleanse here. It's an AFE program. Okay. So everything is still running. Since we're doing energetic cleaning here, we can, since this is an AFE program, also do a more focused therapy and put it here in the psychoenergetic stabilization. Okay. It's always a good idea to focus on what you're doing specifically for each therapy. Okay, here on your AFE program, you'll notice that there's a VAR-HOPE number here, percentage, that's steadily and slowly increasing. Our goal by the end of the therapy is the VAR-HOPE percentage to be over 100. Okay, that way you know that they're doing better. And you'll notice, depending on the therapy that you're doing, the AFE therapy that you're doing with some therapies, you'll notice that VAR-HOPE percentage going up high really quickly. And with others, it's going really slowly. When you see that it's going up quickly, you know that you're doing the right therapy. You're doing the therapy that they really actually needed. And it goes to 100 like within just, a few seconds. Here we see that it's still going slowly from 54 to 58. It's still going slowly. Okay. It's something that they need, but it's not the actual thing, the magical therapy that's, taking that load off their shoulder. It's helping them, but not so much to help the VAR-HOPE percentage. Let's see though. We're waiting here for the rectification to be at least over 100 so we can close it. Okay, rectification 104, and you see the VAR-HOPE still in the 60s. Okay, so we end it and we close, and the next one that we do is the AFE treatment for psychic disturbance. Okay, and this will finish off the energetic management dysfunction that we saw. Okay, this way, any therapy that we'll be doing afterwards will go in deeper for the person. We will have better results when their psychic energy management dysfunction is cleared. Okay, so we've started the psychic stabilization. We can also do psychoenergetic stabilization from here too. The VAR hope is getting higher. Let's take a look at the aura, just out of curiosity. It's even bigger. It's still pink, and it's even bigger. Fantastic. Fantastic. Let's do the children therapy again. Now it came up, the Metron's cube stills the troubled mind. Okay, it's the mental factors that came up in the beginning. Remember in the blue box, the mental factors that was the highest. So it's clearing their minds. Let's go toggle back to our therapy here. So the VARP hope already went to 79. The rectification here is at 49, 82. You see, now it's gaining momentum. The more that we're getting the therapy done, the VAR hope is increasing steadily and quicker. Probably the either the psychic stabilization therapy was a better therapy for the person, or it's gaining that momentum. And the more we're doing, the deeper the therapy is getting into them. So our goal here is for this rectification here to be over 100, so it can start deepening. Rectification, 104, great. Okay, so we're finished from here. Okay. We can do the harmonize to divine light and divine light to pineal gland. That will also help with the spiritual energetic management dysfunction. But I'm not going to do it today because we've done enough around there. I think we're okay, but these are other options too that you can do. You can set the time for, let's say, 3 minutes and do harmonize to divine light and divine light to pineal gland. These are wonderful therapies as well. Okay, so let's close here. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is definitely work on their sleep. Now, there are different places that we can work on their sleep. One is the NLP. There is insomnia here. The insomnia here. In the special eductor 1 therapies, we can work on their insomnia. Okay. There are different places where you can work insomnia. There's here in the NLP, there is the relaxation and sleeping therapy in the super learning cybernetic, the timed therapy, super learning cybernetic therapies. There in the timed therapies, there's relaxation and sleeping therapy. You can work insomnia from that one. You can also work insomnia from the biofeedback systemic. And one of the drop-down buttons, there is insomnia. We don't need to do insomnia in all the areas where you can find it in the eductor 1 panel. I mean, in the programs. All we need is just to choose one. One therapy is enough to help the client sleep better, because either way, we're working on so many things. We'll be working on the hormones. We worked on their brain. We work on so many parts. We worked on their all their neurological systems, sympathetic, parasympathetic, vagus. All these things will help them sleep better either way. Okay, so choosing just one of the insomnia therapies in any of the panels is enough, since we're doing all the others. Okay, so here, notice, even though rectification is here at 55, the VARHOPE already went to 112 and 108. So we are doing a very good job already. The client already should be feeling better just from what we've done so far. Okay, this is a very good indication for us. So we'll finish with this, and we've done the insomnia issues. Since we're here, okay, because somewhere I remember in the risk, the virtual doctor for the bacteria, remember anger came up, and anger also came up from the aura, the red clouds that came up. So we'll work anger from here as well. That's why, it's always good to take notes while you're going along, because there's so much information coming at you that, you need to remember all these things so you can, cover them. Okay, so it went to 104, which is great. Now I'm going to show you something that I love doing. You know that these therapies are ZAP therapies. They are not AFE therapies. But because I love working on AFE therapies, because they go deeper, okay? We have this button here on the right. It's Enable Long-Term SS Therapy. You choose the long-term therapy. Okay. And if you go here and we go to anger control, it's an AFE program now. That way, you go deeper with the anger therapies. This is a really good function. So, I love working that button. Okay, so we've done the anger. We've done insomnia. We'll see what else. And the VARHOPE's already at 100. So I'm sure this child is feeling great. Let's get over this one and see what else comes up under the therapies, because I always like to also do the unconscious therapy. So we can go in deeper. Now, remember in the universal therapy, the suggested therapies that came up were just a color therapy and a scalar. Normally, we would like to do the DNA and hereditary, because remember in the risk panel, one of the top risks was hereditary. But we're going to get to that through the miasms. So we'll work here also, since we're in NLP, the miasms. Going deeper into the miasms. These AFE programs are really, really deep, okay? Many times people ask us, so when could we finish? When do we finish? Till it goes to 85, till it goes to 100, or whatever. Well, the best time to finish is as soon as it goes to 100, and once it goes to 100, you see a yellow line underneath it. It says therapy is deepening. At this point, you can close it. But if you want it to go deeper, okay, you can leave it like for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half an hour. Now, you see here, it's quantum resonant biofeedback and deepening. At this point, you can close it. You would like to choose, though, the best therapy. That's where I'm going to go into in just 5 minutes, where I want you to go in for longer. But let's look into what unconscious therapy this will go in. Okay, unconscious, learning disability, open mind and false illusions, and stimulate creativity. Now, all of these are really, really good, but we always have to look at the time. To tell you, during the first session, we normally do not have too much time to work on for the client because it takes longer. Things take longer. You saw how long we were in the short circles, how long we were in the startup. It took longer. Whereas in follow-up sessions, when the person is more used to this therapy, you'll see, you'll have like an hour still to do anything you want, okay? But as a first session, it takes longer. If we had time, we would do them all, okay? But remember, you have the client coming in afterwards. You can take a picture of it. You know that you have things to work on. You will discuss that with the parents that you need to work on these things. We still have a lot of things to work on for the child. Okay, now, miasms. Here, under the magic window high frequency, I will tell you that this drop down is a lesson and a webinar on its own. It's one of my favorite drop down menu, and I love to work on something for the last 15 minutes or the last half hour, depending on how much time I have. I would like to work on this drop down. It like takes a load off the person. It's very magical, and it's not by chance. It's called the magic window high frequency. At some point, I will go over it, every one with you, because there's so much information on each line and what potentials they have for each person. Remember, when we were clearing the aura, the one that there was a flaw still in astral, okay, and causal. Causal, we don't have causal here, but the astral, we can definitely work on, and that is spiritual. They need more spiritual connection. It's just, and there's a lot behind this. Okay, but for this point, we want to work on the viral, all the all miasms here for the DNA that came up. Okay, this is a high frequency, but it's enough for the rectification to go up till 100. Okay, so we worked on the miasms as well. And slowly we see that time is running out. Things that we didn't go into yet are the hormonal, the dental, nutrition, phobias, and guilt. Okay. So at that point, you have to decide what's the most important thing from me. The most important thing right now, so that they can feel better, is the hormonal. Hormonal is very important because, you know, it'll help them sleep better. It'll help them feel better. So I'll do a quick, right after this, I'll decide to do a really quick therapy in hormonal. I'll show you how. And at the same time, looking at their nutrition panel. We'll go through their hormonal from there, and that way you get, you know, information at the same time. You know, you try to do the best you can do in the time that you have. It's good time management. Because, you know, children get uneasy if you have them too long here. And as I said in our first session, we always have to respect the time of the person. For them not to also get too tired in their therapy. So we see the rectification is going up slowly. It's okay. Needs to be done though. Miasms can also be worked from the main matrix, can also be worked from the homotoxicology panel, as I showed you in the previous webinars. But it's enough to just choose the one. You don't have to do everything in one session. One time I could do it from here, and I jotted down on their file what I've done. So the next time you can work on miasms from another place. And that way you get it all around rectified from different angles. You don't always need to do the same one each time. Okay, so let's do the hormones. Okay, but one thing I do want to look at is the aging and the hormones. I want to see where the growth hormone is and why that was coming up. Okay, growth hormone here is at 95. Okay. Quantic decadal 111, which is quite high for a child. Okay, but reasons for their quantic decay and aging, let's say they're not hydrated enough and there's a lot of toxicity. So definitely you have to look at their issue for toxicity and their food intake. Remember the food poisoning. Now the growth hormone here wasn't too high. It was only it's at 95. Okay, let's go to the nutrition panel. We need to be quick because time is coming up and I don't want the webinar to shut down. It's at 2 hours. So here we see the quick issue with what's going on with your vitamins. Vitamin K is an indication for us that we need the probiotics 2 times a day. Fatty acids, maybe some kind of omega we can give them. There's a lot of children's omega and increasing their immune system. Okay, so, and protein digestion. Another time we can go and work on them, but here there's an AFE program here, the Nutritional Enzyme Stabilization and Hormone Stabilization. This is a wonderful, wonderful therapy to work on. I love this one. It covers everything, the digestive, the hormones, the nutritional. So you get 3 in 1. So it'll help with their digestion. It'll help with the hormone stabilization. Very, very important. Okay, so in general, remember, we want to wait till the rectification is over 100 and it's deepening. I'm going to close it now because I want to have time to close down here and go back to you and see if there's any questions from you. Okay, so close. How we close down, we check here for rectifications, toxicity, trauma, and blockages. So there's still issues of trauma, still issues of toxicity. So you'll give them information on what they should do on their daily life. So when they come back, they can be better on that issue. Make sure they're drinking a lot of water. We'll see the improvement here. Drinking a lot of water, juices, vegetables, fixing their dietary, okay? Because remember, the 50% of their therapy is also what they do in daily life. Okay, so in 1.5 minutes, this will be ready so we can see their rectification, see how deep their therapy went. We want to see when they need to come back, and I'll be back with you to see and to wrap up. Let's see. So I hope, I didn't leave any questions. Well, if you have any questions, I hope I didn't confuse you by going around. I hope I was clear with you. Any questions that you have, I'll be happy to respond to any questions you have. You can text me on Messenger or through Peter, whatever you wish. We can also go on private, mentoring. I'll be happy to help you any way we can. So today's improvement was 2%. Now, a lot of people say, oh, I only got 2%. It's okay. You're 2%. They're 2% either better than what they came, or it also means that they absorbed 2% of their therapy, meaning that in the next 72 hours that the therapy is still working on, what we did today takes time for them to absorb. When I have these kind of low numbers, I always contact the client the next day. They always call me back and they tell me, I feel wonderful. I don't know what you say about the 2%, but I feel wonderful. Well, it just means that, they need to go sleep. They need to rest. And as soon as they rest, that improvement will take place and it'll be shown. Okay. We all love to have fantastic numbers here, 80%, even 100% I've gone. But sometimes either the therapy is too heavy for them that we did, okay, what I talked about in the beginning, or they need to rest so they can absorb the therapy. It's okay. It's okay. So let's see also when they should come back. Okay, emotional expression. Next time we do have to work on addiction therapy. You can jot things down, what other things they need to get worked on. Detox. Remember, the detox and the homotoxicology you do after the third therapy. So, you can jot things down on what needs to be done. And it says 3 weeks. This 3 weeks means that the latest that you should see the child again is in 3 weeks, the latest. But it also means that what we did today will take 3 weeks approximately to absorb. Okay? Each therapy takes time. That's why it only came up to 2%. It's okay. So let me go back. I stopped sharing my my panel with you, and I'm back with you. Time is almost up, and I wanted to see who else is with us. Hello, everybody. Hello. Ivana, Lana, Amanda, Yanina, everybody. Thank you so much. You answered all my questions. Okay, even more. I'm so glad. I've covered everything for you. Okay, if you think about anything, just make sure you contact me. I'll be happy to help you. Okay. I wish all of you very, very, very happy holidays. Very happy holidays, full of light, full of love. I wish all of you many kisses, lots of love, and we'll be together in the beginning of January. Me and Peter will contact you for more news. Bye.